Yo, GamerNemy here and welcome to my Leroy punishment guide where I describe what punishment is, how to punish a set character and just what to do around set key moves revolving around Leroy's punishment. Now I will do this guide in the basic form, understandable at all levels, beginner to high level. So please, if you're a beginner, don't be afraid. If you're high level, intermediate, don't be afraid either. I want everyone to be able to understand what I'm talking about. So with that said, I'll try my best to avoid frame data and make everyone understand either way. I really don't want to chase the beginners away. And like I said, it won't just be about punishment, but stuff revolving around set punishment moves. So stuff like flowcharts after a punishment, frame data after a punishment, and okay situations after a punishment. So as usual, please watch this video at your own pace. Check out the timestamps, pause if you have to, rewind. I'll try to put subtitles if I can. With all that jazz, let's get right into it. Okay, so what is punishment? So in the most basic way possible, a punish is guaranteed damage after an opponent's move. It's always regarded as guaranteed damage when someone says that's a punish. Now there are three different types of punishment in this game. There is standing block punishment, there's while standing block punishment, and there's whiff punishment as well. So to describe punishment, we must talk about safe and unsafe moves. In this game, there are moves that can be regarded as safe, meaning they can be thrown out without risk, right? An opponent can throw a move out, such as down 1+2 with Leroy, as you can see, and can be still able to block afterwards because the move is safe, right? And with that said, there are also unsafe moves in this game as well, meaning the opposite. An opponent can throw out moves but can be punished for that move, right, because it is regarded as unsafe. So just to show you guys a practical example. So like I showed you guys with down 1+2, this move can be regarded as safe. So the opponent can throw it out and still be able to block afterwards, right? But the same cannot be said for down forward 2, 1+2, which is the classic Leroy launcher. So as you can see from here, right, as you can see from the little box there, the blue box, it actually says punish in yellow. So notice the box, punish in yellow, right? One more time, punish, right? So certain moves are riskier than other moves, and that's what describes, what differentiates a safe move from an unsafe move, and that's how punishment works in this game. So you must know your character, you must know what's regarded as safe and unsafe, what's situational, how risky the moves are, and all that jazz. Okay, so now let's describe the three different types of punishment as well. So the example I showed you guys here is standing block punishment, right? You get the punish whilst you're still standing after an opponent throws out a move and you block it. That's regarded as a while standing, as a standing block punisher. Now, while standing block punishment is something you do after you're crouching, a punish you do after you're crouching. This is mostly used to punish lows, right? So for example, let's record Leroy to do the hell sweep. Record again, I messed that up. Hell sweep. Okay, record this movement, yes. Turn off the second scenario, okay. So as you can see, I've blocked this low and I stay in my crouching status. So while standing means whilst you're standing from crouch, right? Whilst you're standing from crouch. That's basically what it means. So I can get block while standing punishment from crouch. It moves like this, right? Here is while standing 2, while standing 1, 4, and while standing 4. That's what's regarded as while standing block punishment. And finally, for whiff punishment, this is basically punishing an opponent that throws something in the neutral, right? So when someone says a whiff, that means throwing something in the neutral, like randomly, right? Let's say like this, for example. So an opponent throws that out in the open, right? Not close to you, but very far from you, maybe somewhere from here, right? So that's regarded as a whiff, right? They've whiffed their move, or basically they've missed their move. They haven't hit me, they've missed, right? So if you punish that, right, as you can see, it also says punish, right? That's what's regarded as a whiff punish, basically a missed punish, right? oh, you've missed your move, so I'm going to punish you for that. That's basically the definition of whiff punishment. So, okay, so first let's start with Leroy's fastest standing punisher, which is 1, 2, 4. So as usual, guys, or like I said before, I won't really be talking about frame data because I'm trying to make this guide understandable for everyone, especially the beginners. So if you're intermediate and high level, please bear with me, and I'm sure you understand what I mean or what I'm trying to say. So 1 to 4 is Leroy's fastest punish. So in this game, right, you want, especially if you're coming from a 2D game, in a 2D game, almost every punish you do is going to lead into a combo, but that's not the case in Tekken 8. So in Tekken, there are moves that are riskier than others. You might be able to get a launcher for certain moves, and for other moves, you only be able to get a small punish, like 1 to 4 in Leroy's case, which is his fastest punish. So just to give you guys a practical example, so I recorded 2 scenarios here, so let's switch this off. So for example, this is Leroy's down back 1, 1+2. So this move is only jab punishable, right? So when it says jab punishable, you can't get a combo out of this move, like a launcher, like a launch punish, right? You can't get his down forward 2, 1+2 because the move is not that punishable. So you're only able to get 1 to 4. So as you can see, it actually says punish in my little frame data box there, or my little information box. It's a punish, right? So other moves won't work like this, right? Well, I'll come back to all these punishers, but all these won't work. So the only punish you're able to get is 1 to 4. So that's how punishment works in Tekken. There are moves that are riskier than others. So with that said, this is Leroy's jab punish, right? His fastest punish for the moves that are not very risky. For example, like I gave you guys Leroy's down back 1+2. So not launch punishable, just minimal. So 1 to 4 is a very good punish that lets you go into Hermit, which is Leroy's mix-up stance, right? He has like some disgusting mix-ups in this stance. So firstly, 1 to 4 is not that advantageous on hit, or basically it's still your turn, but like you don't really have that much you can do in terms of making your opponent respect you after this punish, right? So for example, let me record another scenario. Not set, record. So you can do Hermit 4, right? If you want your opponent to respect you afterwards. So for example, you get a punish into Hermit 4, right? Record this movement, yes. So basically your opponent cannot press buttons after you land this punish. It's a very, very good frame trap. If you notice people are respecting you after your punish, just throw that out to check them, right? That's basically how it works. So now the idea behind this is you have this option as a way of making your opponents respect you. So if they start respecting you, that means you can now start going for your mix-ups, right? Because they're respecting your frame trap now, right? They're scared because you throw this out. So that makes you now start going for other moves, like you can now go low, right? You can go mid if you want to mix them up. It's also launches, right? You can go for a heel sweep now, right? You can go for like a bunch of lows. His back 1 if you want, right? So that's the idea behind this 1 to punish, to go into Hermit, either force them into the mix-up, right, or check them if they're respecting you, or if you want, you just cancel it, right, cancel with just 3+4 again, right, you try to bait them, sometimes maybe like a hop kick, right, and get the punish, right. If you want, you can cancel with sidestep, like up, right, go for like more, Leroy pressure, and so much more. That's basically his 1 to 4 and how you want to use it. Okay, so now let's look at his second punish, which is Leroy's 2-2. So this does slightly more damage than 1 to 4. It's also a fast punisher of Leroy. For those of you that care about frame data and understand it, this is 12 frames or this is 10 frames. So for those beginners that don't understand, this punish 1 to 4 is faster than 2-2. So in a scenario where you can only get 1 to 4, you won't be able to get 2-2. But in a scenario where you can get 2-2 as a punish, you can also be able to get 1 to 4. So just to give you guys a practical example. So remember guys, when I showed you down back 1, 1+2, this move, right? It's only jab punishable. So you're able to get 1 to 4 as a punish, right? But you won't be able to get 2-2. You won't be able to get this move because it's not fast enough. But for a move like Leroy's Punish, for example, 1 forward 1+2, right? I'm just showing you guys here. I can be able to get 1-4, and I'm also able to get 2-2. As you can see, it says Punish as well, right? Right. So remember this what I said, guys. Remember what I said. Certain moves in this game are riskier than others, right? It's not like a normal 2D game where every punish will lead to a combo. No, certain moves are punishable. Like they're how can I explain it? They can be punished differently, or depending on how risky they are. I don't really know how to explain this. My English is so bad, guys. I am sorry. So you can get this, and you can also get 1-4. Okay, so now in this case, right, you're either choosing to go for more damage. As you can see, it does 30 damage, but for 1-4, it does 25 damage, right? So in this scenario, it's up to you to decide whether you want to go for damage and frame advantage whilst you're in the neutral, or you want to go for a faster punish with less damage but will leave you in Leroy's mix-up stance. So that's the idea between why these punishments both can still work, but it's up to you to decide on which one you want to use. And again, the more punishable a move is, the more damaging it, the more risky it is, like susceptible to heavier punishers. For example, 2-2 is a slower punisher than 1-4, but it does more damage, right? It's slower but does more damage, right? So it will be a thing as we keep on explaining about the punishment with Leroy. The more punishable a move is, the more damaging, right, the punish is going to be. So 2-2 will leave you at +7. Oh my god, frame data again, there I go. Okay, it will leave you at a huge advantage against your opponent. So you basically still keep your turn, right? So you can go for like stuff like 2-2 into back 1+2. So this is a frame trap. If they press any buttons, right, you're going to get a counter hit launcher. So one more time, boom. As you can see, they get launched, right? So they have to respect this, right? So you can go for like stuff like 2-2, down forward 4-3, another frame trap, 2-2, down 1+2 is a good frame trap as well, right? You can go for 2-2 into 1+2, 1+2 if you want. So yeah, you can just go crazy because there's a huge advantage, right? They'll most likely respect you after this, right? You can mix them up with a low afterwards. If they duck, you can go for an orbital, right? So yeah, it's a really, really good punish. The best thing about this punish is the damage and the fact that it leaves you at a huge frame advantage as well. Okay, so for Leroy's next punish, we're going to take a look at down forward 1-4, which for you for you guys understand frame data, or one frame data is 13 frame punish, right? For beginners, so this move is slower than this one, right? It's slower than these two. So in terms of speed, right, it's right after this one, right? So 13 frames means it's slower than this one. So this is the next punisher we're going to talk about. So whatever I said in the previous video applies to this punish as well, right? In a scenario where you get this and you get this, you can also get, in a scenario where you can get this, right? The slowest punish, you can also get 2-2, you can also get 1-4. So now, the best case scenario in which you want to use this punish, right? So first of all, let's talk about the punish itself. It's 26 damage, right? And leaves you into Hermit at +3. So +3, exactly the same as 1-4, right? So it does 1 more point damage than 1-4, but less damage than 2-2, right? So it's slower than 2-2 and does less damage. So why would you want to use this move over this move, right? So yeah, that's the case scenario. Okay. So first things first, there are some situations where you won't be able to get this punish or this punish because of range issues. There are certain moves that leave you at a very bad range. For example, this is Brian's down forward 2-3, right? So the move is -13. So now when I say that -13, I mean it can be punished by 1-4. It can also be punished by 2-2. And lastly, it can also be punished by down forward 1-4. But as you can see, all the 3 punishers, this is the only move I'm able to land, right? Because the other 2 moves are whiffing. This is too, right? Brian is too far. I can't hit him with 2-2, as you can see. I can't hit him with 1-2-4 either. He's too far, right? So in that scenario, I'll have to use my down forward 1-4, right? So this is a scenario you want to use the Spanish. There are certain moves in this game that have significant pushback, right? So it's up to you to know how bad that move is on block and whether or not it has significant pushback as well. There are some moves in this game that can be unsafe, but because of the pushback they have, it makes them safe because you're not able to punish the move because how far it puts you after that move is done on block, right? So I hope that makes sense. So some things you can do after down forward 1-4 are exactly the same as 1-2-4. So whatever I said in the 1-2-4 section also applies to the down forward 1-4. Okay, so now let's go back to putting Leroy on my CPU because I have something else I want to explain to you guys, just so you're not confused. So like I said earlier, in a scenario where you're able to get down forward 1-4, right? If you can get this as a punish, that means you're also able to get 2-2 as a punish and down forward 1-4 as a punish. So let's go back to Leroy's power crash. Boom, boom, like I showed you earlier, right? So I can get a 1-2-4 punish on this. I can get a 2-2 punish on this, and I can get a down forward 1-4 punish as well. So at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide which one you want to use, right? But if you want to be optimal, you must go for the most damaging, which is the 2-2. Remember guys, different speeds, different punishment. Again, certain moves are punishable depending on like how risky they are. You might get a launcher for some of them, you might only get 2-2 for some of them, you might only get 1-4 for some of them. So remember that. This will make it very easy for you, right? Again, one last time, in a scenario where you're able to get this punish, which is slower than this one and this one as well, right? You're able to get all of these as well, right? In a scenario you can get down forward 1-4, you can get 2-2, you can get 1-4. But in a scenario where you can only get 1-4, you can't get 2-2 and you can't get down forward 1-4 because 1-4 is his fastest punish, and depending on the moves that the opponent throws out, if it's only jab punishable, this is the only punish that you're able to get as a Leroy player. Okay, so now let's talk about his sick 1+2, 1+2, 2. This move is ridiculous. Hit engager and hit confirmable as well. So a very, very strong punish. For those of you that care about frame data and understand, this is his 14 frame punish. So again, it's slower than down forward 1-4, it's slower than 2-2, and it's slower than 1-2-4. So let's go back to Leroy's down back 1+1, 1+2. So this one, right? We call this movement, yes, turn off this scenario. So again, in this scenario, you can only get 1-4 from this because the move is not that punishable for you to get moves like 2-2, right? Or 1+2, 1+2. It's not that risky. But a move like this, for example, Leroy's outstanding 2, right? This move right here. This move is 14 frame punishable. So that means you can get all the punishes I've explained about in my previous section. So you can get 1-4, you can get 2-2, down forward 1-4 as well. I was a bit slow there, right? And finally you can get his 14 frame punish, right? So if you want to be optimal, you have to land his most damaging punish, which is 1+2, 1+2, 2, right? So this is basically how it works. So this is a hit engager, right? Leaves in your opponent's face. Now the creativity here is completely up to you, right? You're like +17, bro. That's a lot. You have a lot of mix-up potential, as you know from a hit engager. It's 50-50, right? You can go for like lows if you want, right? You can go for the match, right? Leroy pressure, right? You can go for an orbital if you think they'll duck, right? You can go for like manual hermit stuff. It's a pretty cool punish, and it's an obvious punish, like 14 frame, not much going on around this move. It simply takes you into hit. So a pretty good punisher. Okay, so Leroy also has a different 14 frame punisher. Again, for those of you that know about frame data, for beginners, basically it's the same speed as this move, right? So if you don't want to get into hit, but you want the same kind of punish at the same speed, you have upward 3 plus 4, 1 plus 2. So this is basically the same thing as this, right? Except you don't go into hit and it knocks down, although it does less damage. So whatever scenario you're going to use this move, you can also use it with this move as well. And this move is a mid, whilst this one is a high. That's something to keep in mind. Something might be minus 14, but it leaves them in a crouching status. This might whiff. In that scenario, you might want to use upward 2 plus 4, 1 plus 2. I don't want to get this complicated, honestly. It's just a 14 framer, the same as this. So not much going on for this as well. Okay, and so finally for his standing block punisher, we have his down forward 2, 1 plus 2, which is his launcher. Now, for this, you're going to want to use this for moves that are regarded as launch punishable. So for example, Leroy's 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2, 2. This move right here is regarded as launch punishable. So you have to be, like, there is no excuse for this section. You have to be optimal and get the most optimal punish, which is Leroy's launch. As you can see, it says punish, right? Now, of course, you can do his other punishers, like I showed you guys earlier, right? You can do this. You can do 2, 2, right? You can do 1, 2, 4, but you're not optimal. You're losing out on a massive amount of damage, and so you always want to do his launch punish. So if someone says, oh man, that's launch punishable, that means the move they threw out can be punished by a launcher. And in Leroy's case, that's down forward 2, 1 plus 2. Simple and straightforward. Okay, so now let's talk about his while standing block punishment. And now the logic to his while standing block punishment, literally the same as the standing punisher. So this will just be one section explaining the same scenarios as his standing punishment. So with lows, just like the mids, right? Different lows have different risks. Some lows might not be punishable as other lows. There are launch punishable lows, and they're just lows that are like medium punishable, and there are lows that are like jab punishable, or the equivalent of a jab punish while standing. So, for example, Leroy is down to this one right here, right? Is only minus 13. So in this case, you can get a while standing 4, right, which is Leroy's fastest while standing punish, right, frame data at 11 frames, right? So in this case, at minus 13, you can get while standing 1, 4, right? Let me start with the 4. Let me start with the 4. So let's see. I think down 2 is only minus 12, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Okay. So for down 4, in this case, you can only get Leroy's while standing 4, right, being his fastest while standing punisher. Just like I explained before, with his standing punishment, 1, 2, 4 being his fastest standing punisher. It's the same with crouch, with standing 4 being his fastest while standing punisher. So in this case, you can get this, but you can't get this, right, which is his 13 framer. So let's go back to that down 2, right? Down 2 at minus 13 means you can get this and this as well, because it's that bad, it's more risky. You can get a better punish, right? So this will leave you in hermit as well. So basically like the 1, 2, 4, right? So if you guys want some options on what to do after this, please check out the 1, 2, 4 section. It's exactly the same scenario, and I do some explanations there, so please check the timestamps and go to that section as well. And let's go to a more riskier law. So let's see Leroy down back 4. Let's see, is this minus 14 now, or it's minus 13 as well? Okay, so this is a launch punishable law, as you can see. So for this one, you can get his launcher, right, which is 15 frame launcher, right? So you can get a combo after this. So I'm sure you guys know about this. If you're a beginner, you can get a combo after this, right? So yeah, so that's what I said, by some laws are riskier than others. For this one, you can get everything. You can get standing 4, you can get 1, 4, and for optimization, which you want to always do, you can get his while standing launcher. This is what you want to always do, right? So as a player, it's your job to know which laws in this game are launch punishable, can only be punished for while standing 4, or have a decent punish like while standing 2, 3. Like, it's up to you. You have to know. You have to have that knowledge. You can't just go in YOLO without knowing, how to punish a law, right? So the principle is exactly the same as the standing punisher. Laws are riskier than others, right? So it's up to you to know. With that said, if you know how risky a law is, you know which punisher works for which particular law. Okay, so finally, let's talk about Leroy's Whiff Punishment. So again, maybe you've skipped to timestamps directly to this section. So we explained about Whiff Punishment at the beginning of the video. So basically, when someone whiffs, they throw out a move in the open, right, without hitting the opponent, right? Or think of the Whiff Punisher as a missed move. So he's missed his move, and he's right in the open. So whatever I do to hit him afterwards can be described as a Whiff Punisher. So now, with that said, let's talk about Leroy's Whiff Punishment options. So, Whiff Punishers really have a lot of range. You want your character to have a certain range when it comes to your Whiff Punishment options. So like I showed you guys earlier, forward 2-2 is Leroy's go-to Whiff Punisher. This thing has insane range, but you can come from like so far. As you can see, it even says punish there, right? That's Leroy's first Whiff Punishment. This is what you want to use mostly. But you should be careful because this move on block is really bad. Your opponent can launch it. We're talking about punishers. This is one of the moves that's like launch punishable on block. So if you miss this move, right, and you land it on block, you're going to get your ass launched. It's launch punishable on block. So you have to be very careful on how you use this move in terms of Whiff Punisher. Make sure you always have the read, right? I missed it there, right? So I'm getting launched, right? So make sure you always have the read on this move. Other Whiff Punishers, sorry, let me go, what am I doing? Other Whiff Punishers include upward 4, 1+2, right? So has decent range as well. This is your go-to, like if you want less risk, let me just show you guys what this is on block. This is only, I think, -14, right? Oh, only 13. So -13 means you can only get down for round 4 as a punisher, right? Let's say Leroy lands this on block, right? The punish for this is going to be this one, maximum. He can't get a launcher. So it's less risky than his forward 2-2, right? So, right, another very good Whiff Punish option, right? He also has forward 4-4, a very good Whiff Punish option. This one will take you into hit. But remember, it's a mid-high, so the second hit can be ducked, so be very careful with that, right? And other options include 1+1 +2, 2, right? It's a very good Whiff Punisher as well. This is like a close range Whiff Punisher, right? And it's hit confirmable. What that means is you can visually see if you land the move and finish the move, depending on whether it lands or it's been blocked, right? So it makes it very good. Right? Close range Whiff Punishers, your punishers as well can count as Whiff Punishers, right? So that's basically how it works. Honestly, this section is not complicated. Basically, you see your opponent throw out a move in the open. It's up to you to decide which move you want to use to punish them, right? With maximum being forward 2. Even your launcher, your normal launcher is a good Whiff Punisher as well. Okay, so there you have it, guys. Leroy's punishment in a nutshell. So please give me some feedback. What can I do better? I hope I was able to explain this in the most in-depth way possible. But honestly, punishment is very easy to understand. There are so many punishment tools in Tekken 8 that you should be utilizing. There's literally punishment training in the game. So please take the time to open that up and just check it out. But with that said, I really hope this guide has helped you. And if you like this guide, then why not check out Leroy's introduction guide if you're thinking of maining the character.